Hello there, Scorpions. Welcome back. And this is your instructor, Grievin Chin. And today we'll be looking at data types in Python. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, do please subscribe and turn on the notification icon to be receiving updates on the channel. And so, right away to our today's agenda, we will be defining what data types are, and then we look at the different types of or the different categories of data types that we have in Python. And then we'll also try to distinguish what really data structures are from data types. We'll try to look at data structures and data types. Are they really the same kind of thing? When you talk about data structures, when somebody else talks about data types, are they referring to the same thing? So data types data types are generally a classification or categorization of data items. So you have this classification or categorization of data items. Well, I'd like to look at it from another angle of data types are basically um, the format in which you store data on your computer. And so that is basically how I can define data types in Python. It's a classification of data items, or rather a format in which data is stored in your computer. And so in Python recognizes data in two ways. There are primitive data types, and then there are compound data types. So let's first look at the primitive data types. Number one, on primitive data types, we have integers, and integers are numerical values. Integers are whole numbers in whole numerical values. And so when you open your Chevron prompt on your computer, just by typing Python, should be able to open. And I'm using only part of my screen, so you'll not be able to see really how I type and how it comes. But what's important is to go to the search area on your PC, and then you should be able to just type in Python, then it will give you the Chevron prompt. And so let's look at what integers are. Integers are just whole numbers on your computer, definite whole numbers. So we have like this, like one, we you 70, that's an integer. You have like 5, you have 4. You see, those are generally integers. And you can have, if you can have a variable like a variable called number, and assign the integer 8 to number, and then when you print number, it should be able to give you the value 8. So 8 is an integer, and to confirm that, if you key in the type, sorry about that, the type function, and then be able to query what number is, it should be able to tell us that it's an integer. So integers are generally whole numbers. And then we have float values. So float values or floating point numbers are decimal values. So you can have like 0.001, or when you have a value like 9.345, that's a floating point number. And so that's a float in Python. And then we have other values. So let me try to assign a variable to it and call it, let me just say name, and then let's assign 7.2 to it. And then let's be able to get the type of name of that variable. It's a floating point value, and when you call name, it should be able to give you 7.2, which is a floating point value. And so generally that's what floats are. And then we have boolean. So boolean are normally just true or false. So booleans are true or false values on your computer. And then we have strings. Sorry about that. And then we have like true value or a false value. And then we have strings. So strings are a combination of characters or a set of characters. So you can have a string like school. Let's have a variable called school, and then strings in Python are given in quotation marks. So could be single or double quotation marks to denote a string. So a school, like let's say JKUAT. Okay, that's a string, yeah. And when you call in the variable school, it should be able to give you the string JKUAT, which we have there now as the output. And there is one thing that is so nice about primitive data types, and that is when you have a single data type and wish to convert it to another, it is something that is in Python or other programming languages is called casting. So casting is just changing from one data type to another data type. And why is really casting necessary? So you can use casting if you want to call a function that expects a certain data type to be given to it, but you have a different data type. So you cast that data into the right data type before you give it to the function. So let's look at an example of casting in Python. So we can have like a variable like num equal to 7.43, and so when you call in num, it gives you 7.43, but then we can cast num to a string. So we can say, like, now let's say y is equal to the not really the float, but now let's convert it to an integer of 7 of num, so that when we call y we get only 7. So take note of the difference. When we are casting, we are changing from one data type to another, and we have changed from 7.43, which was a floating point value, to an integer, which now is giving us 7 and not 7.43 that we had initially. And then we have other data types that are known as compound data types, and these include tuples, sets, lists, and dictionaries. So we'll be able to look at tuples, sets, and dictionaries when we talk about them in detail in the next video. But what then are data structures? Our data structures are just structures that hold some kind of data together. Like, data structures store a collection of related data. It could be related data or not related data. So in Python, compound data types are normally data structures, because data structures are a set that holds some given data together. So that collection of data
is known as data structure. When you have values, like let's say we'd be having a list of names, yeah, a list of names of pupils, and lists are given like this, like in square brackets. So you'd have list of pupils, like let's say Nimrod, okay, and then we have Bahati, and another one like Rose. So this is a list containing string values. So it's just it's a structure that is holding some set of data together. So this pupil, the variable pupil here, is a data structure known as a list, and this list contains certain data types, and the data types in this list are of a string type. So you get to now clearly understand what data structures are. So in the next video, when we'll be talking about data structures, we'll talk much more about strings, about tuples, about sets, about dictionaries in the next video. So be sure to subscribe and hit the notification icon to be receiving more videos like this.